Wait, this is gripping. Gripping reading. Oh, she's so right, Carol. That woman is so right. You can't do it alone. Oh, that's so right. Oh, so much wisdom in this book. So much wisdom. Oh, well, oh, sorry you had to see that. That's embarrassing. How you doing, monkeys? Oh, welcome to voting week. Yes, voting week. It's the best. Oh, Carol, there's a puppy staring at me. What's this going on? I'm usually okay, but there's a puppy staring at me right now, and it's throwing me off my game. Oh, that's great. Welcome to Monkey Time. My name's Monkey, and you can call us up. Look at that, Carol, that number's live. Oh, right, that way. Greg Fishel does it again. Listen. I get why the Democratic Party wants me to vote early. Carol, I could save them a lot in phone bills. They sent a cute young boy to my house the other day. I was in my underwear. I swear to God. It was like 10 in the morning. This cute young boy knocks on my door. Democrats know how to get you, Carol. They know how to get you. They send these cute boys to your house. So this cute boy knocks on my door, and I come out. I threw on some pants. Come on. It's a democracy. I have some respect. I threw on some pants to answer the door. This damn dog is like looking right at me, Carol. So it's tough. Cats I can handle. No, it's fine. Let him run around. So what was I talking about? Oh yes, my pants and cute young boys. My pants and cute young boys. So this cute young boy knocks on my door. I throw on some pants and I go there. I'm not sure I zipped up, but you know, and he's got a clipboard. You know what that means, Carol? It's election month. Somebody with a clipboard in front of your house. So I got out the shotgun. No. Just kidding. I don't have a shotgun. but they wanted to see why I hadn't voted yet. Right, Carol? They were like, well, are you going to vote? We noticed you're registered and you're with us and, you know, you donated money and blah, 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 but, you know, you haven't voted. And I get it. They want to focus their resources on people, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I went to the McKimmon Center voting site at NC State, and it was an hour wait. And I'm like, okay, people are waiting 6 hours to exercise their franchise, especially in districts where the Republicans shut down, you know, heavily black districts where the Republicans shut down the number of early voting sites. So I get it. But Carol, do you know how long I have to wait at my local polling place on Election Day? Like, I can count it on the fingers of this paw. The number of minutes that I wait at I'm lucky. So leave me alone, damn it. I'm not going to vote early. I'm going to vote, I'm a traditionalist, I'm a conservative. You could even hear Carol laughing back there at that one. I'm a conservative guy when it comes to elections. I'm very conservative. I'm gonna go ahead and vote on Election Day. And the puppy's with me. Oh, that's great. Puppy's with me on this. Dogs are with me. I'm good with animals. So, you know, yes, vote on. I mean, I get it. You know, it's good. And you know, some people can't vote on Election Day. Election Day should be the weekend, right, Carol? Yes. It's never going to happen. But, you know, they should make it all weekend, 48 hours, Election Day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 72 hours. Bam, done. So leave me alone. I'm not going to vote early. Stop shaming me for not voting early. I'm going to go when it's convenient for me, and that's Election Day. Got it? Got it. Okay. It goes to sleep.
Cascalonce, hey, hey, y hasta ver.
Am I up? Oh, really? So they were hearing all that? Oh, I'm up now. Okay. Thanks for watching. Just want to mention that this is live if you're watching on Thursday, so you can call and, yeah, we've dealt with this for years, decades, Carol, right? So, if you're that kind of call, just stay home. Plus, we log your number, and then you get a call from Officer Knuckles. Remember Officer Knuckles, Carol? Officer Knuckles got some people off my back who were harassing me. So I'm just saying, watch out for Officer Knuckles. That was his real name. So anyway, feel free to give us a buzz. Is that the number? Yeah, 996-6775. Feel free to jump in the conversation. So we are live, if it's Thursday. Have to go, let's do number 6, Carol. So I was standing in line to see Elizabeth Warren at Meredith College last week. And it was so great. We talked about this, Carol, right? It was so great to hear her call Trump a selfish little sleazeball. And the crowd went nuts. Oh, God, she was, preaching to the choir. Sometimes the choir needs its, preaching, right? But in line beforehand, a lot of the volunteers were trying to get people to, have you voted, text this number, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I already get too many texts from Move On and, all these. I'm okay. I'm going to vote. I don't need, to text you so you have more, you can send me more texts. God, it's such a pain in the butt, these politicians. But the girl in front of me in line, college-looking girl, said, oh, yeah, I already voted. And the guy said, oh, did you vote for the judges too? And I saw the look on her face and was like, yeah. And then the person moved on because, they're this, this political operatives, they're this surface, Carol, right? They're, bam, gotcha, connected with the voters, move on. So while she was there, I said, I just kind of started talking to her, and it turns out that she had forgotten to turn the ballot over. I felt terrible, right? Like, these are the most important races. Yeah, Trump and Clinton, yeah. I mean, if Trump gets elected, the what do you call it, that shadow government of appointees and, the what do you call them, the office workers throughout Washington, right? They're going to do everything they can to block Trump, from hurting the country too much. It's not going to be enough, trust me. But I think it's, for us in North Carolina, the more important vote is the judges down the ballot, right? And be sure to turn over your ballot. Now, the judges don't have little D's and R's next to their name, but there's one judge in particular that you really need to make sure to vote for, or at least this is the one I'm voting for, right? And I can explain this. It's just my free speech using these airwaves to tell you why I'm voting for who I'm voting for, right? The Republicans spent a lot of money in the last election for North Carolina Supreme Court to make sure they had a 5-4 edge, because they knew that the legislature was going to be Republican and they wanted to ram through as much as possible and not have it, their bullcrap legislation that the majority of North Carolinians don't want, stopped by a 5-4 Democrat majority on the Supreme Court, right? So here's what they did. One of the Republican justices was up for re-election this year. And last year, Phil Berger and Tim Moore and all those guys and the Republican jerks in the North Carolina legislature actually passed a bill to change the elections for judges to the Supreme Court in North Carolina, so that the Republican who was up, and I'm not saying his name, the Republican judge who was up for re-election this year didn't have to have an opponent. It would be called, this was new, Carol, a retention election. So the only choice, this was passed, and Pat McCrory signed it. Instead of having an open seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court with two people fighting for that seat, The jerks, the Republican GOP jerks in the state House and Senate passed a law that Pat McCrory signed, changing the election so that there was no opponent, so that the one Republican this year who was up for re-election on the North Carolina Supreme Court would not have a named opponent, and the election would just be, should we keep this judge or not? A retention election, Carol. Do you remember that? They changed the law to eliminate an election. Now here's Trump and all the Republicans up and down, oh, voter fraud, voter. That is voting fraud. And they passed it, and Pat McCrory signed it. They wanted to not have a named Democratic or any named opponent to this guy on the Supreme Court who was up for re-election, because they wanted to hold on to their majority on the Supreme Court so tightly, Carol. Why? Why? Because they knew that the majority of people do not like what they're doing in North Carolina. It's 60-40, 55-45, but still, the majority of people do not like the way the legislature is being run by the GOP right now in this state. Luckily, I believe it was a federal judge, overruled that and said, you can't do that. You can't change the rules of an election like that. You can't say that an open seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court that has been contested by two candidates at least for the entire history of the state is now suddenly just a retention election where there's no named opponent and your candidate gets to just get a straight up or down, should we keep him or not? Because most people aren't going to say, yeah, sure, if there's only one name on the ballot. That was the thinking. That's how low. That's lower than an ant's belly, Carol. That's lower than an ant's belly that's buried 6 feet under the ground. That's how low Phil Berger, Tim Moore, and Pat McCrory were. That's how much they changed the election. They altered, they're trying to manipulate the election. They took away your right to vote for an opponent to an open North Carolina Supreme Court seat. Now, we can argue, Carol, that elected judges are a major problem, and I'm on your side on that one. Judges should not be elected. Neither should prosecutors. Seriously. It makes them too beholden to the whims of angry, voters on hot-button crime issues that are too easy to touch. But anyway, that's how we do it in North Carolina, and they wanted to change it. Move me on, Carol. So here's the thing. For that alone, the guy who's running now after a judge said, you can't do that. A federal judge said, you can't do that. You can't just make a retention election, invent this thing that's never been around for the last 50 years in North Carolina, and just decide to do that to protect your majority, Republican majority on the North Carolina Supreme Court. You can't do that. Mike Morgan. That alone, the fact that they tried to hold on to that seat in such a blatantly insulting and I think blatantly unconstitutional way, and federal judge agreed, tells me that's all I need to know to vote for Mike Morgan. All right. Next, so turn over your damn ballots and make sure you go down. Now, can we put up the Indies guide? I'm not always a fan of what the Independent recommends for voting, but their recommendations on judges are really good. And this is what they've got. Is that the URL? Yeah. If you don't know anything about judges, and none of us do, they've got this handy little voting guide in the last couple issues, right? Say it again. And you can download it. Where's the site? There it is. Yeah, you can download it from that page, and you can print it out yourself, right? Or just grab it from their issue. And you can take that into the voting booth with you, because none of us follow judicial elections. That's the other reason why we shouldn't be voting for judges, right? Okay, so that's important. Can I move on? Can I make a restaurant recommendation, Carol? Okay, I didn't write one up for this, but we should mention this, because I saw it on Triangle Downtowner, one of these, this mag, Triangle Downtowner. It's basically just an excuse to get adverts. Look how much ads, look how big the ads are on this thing, But every once in a while they have good stuff, grab bar installation, and yeah, and every once in a while they have good stuff, and they're really good with restaurants. And here's, I'm going to call this my new favorite restaurant. They're not paying me. I'm just doing a restaurant review. It's called The Living Kitchen. Can you see that? Oops, I'm sorry. There it is, The Living Kitchen. And there's a 2-page spread in Triangle Downtowner. And it's right near the Performing Arts Center, the Maimonides Center on Lenore Street. Lenore, it's at the south end of Fayetteville Mall on the left. And I got to tell you, it's originally from Charlotte. I know, Carol, we're not supposed to like that. But they do all kind of organic foods. It's all vegan. And I know, meat eaters, wait. It's vegan, organic, and much of it is just interestingly prepared raw stuff. Like they have noodles, this Thai noodle dish, Carol, where the noodles are thin, elongated bits of zucchini. Oh my God, it's so good. They have a cauliflower dip as an appetizer that's just incredible. And I've brought meat eaters there and they love it. They love it. It's one of those restaurants, Carol, I'm just gonna say, my new favorite restaurant, Living Kitchen on Fayetteville Street at the end near Lenore on the south end of Fayetteville Street. It's one of the few places, I like Fiction Kitchen a lot too, if you're vegetarian or vegan, if you're loyal to Fiction Kitchen, fine, but try out Living Kitchen. They have a bunch of cool smoothies too, regularly on the menu. And they're kind of expensive, the smoothies, but the rest is not. It's very reasonable, at least as reasonable as Fiction Kitchen and any other Garland, any of the other good restaurants downtown that I also love. But it changed the way I thought about what food could be. They have a vegan lasagna with this cashew cheese, and that seems to be a thing. Fiction Kitchen does cashew cheese too, but this vegan lasagna with a zucchini as the noodles again, but they serve it cold. Everything's served cold or room temperature. And if you think that sounds horrible, wait till you try this stuff. Anyway, I'm done. We're gonna do restaurant reviews every show, and that's my new favorite one. Check out the Living Kitchen. It's the second one, and the first one's in Charlotte, so it's yet another thing that Charlotte's doing better than us. Sorry, but it's true. Okay, can we do, Carol, you don't like me talking about this, but can we do the Trump rape stuff? This has been all over, liberals' Twitter feed and my Facebook feed. Any liberals encountered this. There's a lawsuit that's been filed against Donald Trump, and the court date is December 16th, where a woman who was 13 back in 1994, says that Donald Trump, at an orgy taking place at the house of a convicted pedophile, Jeffrey, what's his name? Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, convicted pedophile, like this is not an accusation. He was friends with Donald Trump, and we're gonna get to that in a second. I know what you conservatives are thinking already. Jeffrey Epstein, convicted pedophile, used to have orgies at his house, and Donald Trump was friends with the guy, and this woman says in 1994 she was raped over four different times by Donald Trump. She was basically a sex assault victim regularly in these pedophile orgies. And she's filed a lawsuit. The first court date is December 16th. She filed one in California. They found she didn't do things properly. She did it without a lawyer. Now she's got a patent lawyer. There's a lot of, lefties are asking, why isn't this in the news? That's the question, right? Why isn't this in the news? And there are a couple of maybe good reasons and then a bunch of bad reasons. The maybe good reasons are this. Did I put up anything about this, Carol? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. The kind of good reasons are she's surrounded herself with these diehard anti-Trump conservatives. Steve Baer is one. You may know him for being the guy, Carol, that spread the rumors that Renee Elmers was having an affair with another fellow member of the House from California, which made that guy, McCarthy, the Republican from the House in California, he was running for Speaker of the House, and he dropped out. That's why they had to go with Paul Ryan, the coward, right? It was, so well, Carol says it wasn't just a rumor. I'm being more journalistic about it. I'm saying after Steve Baer, the guy who's been handling the Trump rape accusers PR, or was for a while anyway, after Steve Baer announced and started sending multiple emails, he harasses people via email, journalists primarily, about Renee Elmers having an affair with this guy. The guy dropped out of the speaker's race and Renee Elmers didn't get reelected, right? She lost her primary, right? Isn't that what happened? Yeah, Renee Elmers lost her primary. Sorry, it's all a blur at this point. I can't wait for it to be over. I'm going to the mountains for election day. I'm just, it'll be so much nicer. Oh shoot, Carol, I have to vote early. I do. I have to vote early because I'm going to the mountains on election day. Oh, darn. All right, so I guess I'll vote early tomorrow. Wait in line an hour. So Steve Baer is one of these anti-Trump conservatives, never Trump guys. He's a conservative, right-wing Republican, far right-wing Republican who said Trump wasn't conservative enough for him. And he's the one who's been handling this girl's PR, this woman's PR now. And it caused a lot of skepticism. Very few people have been able to talk to her. She canceled yesterday. She had a press conference scheduled. Her lawyer came out and said, I'm sorry, she's gotten threats, she can't do it. I have no further information. A couple of journalists have managed to talk to her, so I'm guessing sometime soon, maybe before the election, we're gonna see a couple of stories about this case. But here's the thing. So there's legitimate reason to be skeptical. She's anonymous. And it's really hard for journalists to jump on this. But here's the thing. The court suit is real. That's a fact. A woman has filed suit in open court against Donald Trump claiming that he molested her. That's a fact. And that, journalists, should be reported. The guy's running for president. You don't have to say, you can say she's anonymous, no one's been able to really get her on the record talking about this. I mean, there are good reasons for a woman not to want to get her face and name out there who's accusing a powerful figure of rape, right, Carol? We all know this. They get harassed up and down the street to the, horribly, right? It's horrible, and it takes a lot of courage to do this. But as a journalist, you report on the existence of the suit. Bam! And you point out, she's anonymous, no one's been able to talk to her in person, this is a very strange episode, but there is this suit. But the mainstream press isn't even touching it. There's no libel risk here. You report on the filing of a lawsuit. It's a public record. There's no libel risk here. And they're avoiding it like the plague. That's not right. The guy's running for president. He's got a lawsuit filed against him for rape. That should be at least one day's worth of front page news. Instead, we're getting all this crap, anti-Hillary emails, blah, 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 and the FBI again. You know what? One of these two candidates could plausibly have raped a 13-year-old. One of them admitted to being a sexual harasser, joked about it even. Now, here's the problem, Carol, with this Jeffrey Epstein guy. It would be great. Donald Trump actually is on record saying Jeffrey Epstein's a great guy. He likes his women, some of them younger, younger than me. He likes them pretty young. I mean, this is later he became a convicted pedophile. So Donald Trump's joking about a convicted pedophile liking him young. A buddy of his. If Hillary joked about a convicted pedophile liking them young, what do you think the reaction would be on Fox News, Carol? But here's the problem, Carol. You ready? And the conservatives out there are already with me. I read the right-wing press. You don't read the left-wing press, but I read the right-wing press. Bill Clinton was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein for years. Flew on his private jet all over the world to various, spots that Jeffrey Epstein owned that were known for these huge parties. Now, did Bill Clinton have sex with a 13-year-old at one of Jeffrey Epstein's parties? I don't know. No one's filed a lawsuit against Bill Clinton saying I was raped multiple times at Jeffrey Epstein's parties while Donald Trump was there. No one's done that for Bill Clinton, right, in the 90s. Trump, someone filed a lawsuit. That's a fact. May or may not hold up in court, may or may not be true, may or may not have sketchy elements, but the press should be reporting that fact. But the reason lefties and Hillary can't go after Donald Trump for his connection to Jeffrey Epstein is that Hillary's husband was palling around on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet for years, Carol, after he was president. That's the problem with a candidate like Hillary Clinton, I mean, Donald Trump is far worse. If you don't see that, there's no hope for you. But the problem with Hillary Clinton is that she is part of the system. And she and her husband have been part of the system for the longest time. It would have been so great to have Bernie in there. Right? Would have been so awesome. But at this point, it's ridiculous to vote for Jill Stein or write in Bernie or anybody. It's just ridiculous. The key is A, keeping Trump out of the White House, which I think is clear we're going to do. B, voting down ballot. How many senators are there in the United States Senate who are women, Carol? What's it, 9? Is it 15 now? Out of 100, right? I should have looked that up, but you can Google that crap yourself. If you don't have a strong preference for Richard Burr or Deborah Ross for the North Carolina Senate, and I don't know how you couldn't. Look, I mean, Richard Burr just said basically, we're going to block every Supreme Court nominee of a Democratic president. What country is that? Only Republican presidents get to choose Supreme Court nominees now? What the hell country is that? That's not America, Richard Burr. So I don't understand how you could not have a preference between Richard Burr, the jerk who's been there for far too long, who needs to go, and Deborah Ross. The very least you can do is think, we need more women in the Senate. If you don't have a policy preference, and I know some of you out there don't, I don't know how you could, but then the very least you could do is err on the side of putting more women in the Senate. So finally, we freaking get close to 50-50 parity, closer, 50-50 parity men-women in the United States Senate, where women outnumber men in the country. Does that make sense? How many seconds? 1 minute. 1 minute? I would have thought you said 20 seconds. 45 seconds now. Why am I wasting so much time?
Talk about your Twitter feed. What you going to put up there?
Oh, I put up links on my Twitter feed. You don't have to follow me, but check in once a week. If you see the show on Channel 10, they rerun it sometime. Friday night, I think they rerun it too. Check my Twitter feed. I don't give a crap if you follow me, actually. Half my followers are bots. Half of everyone's followers are bots, so I don't care about my follower account. But check my Twitter feed right after you watch the show. There's stuff there that relates to the topics we talk about. I try to back up everything I say. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks after the election, and then we're going to have to start beating back Donald Trump's racist supporters. Not all of his supporters are racist, but many of them are. We're going to have to beat them back into their little holes after Donald Trump loses horribly.